Having a fresh set of strings and a proper setup is one of the most essential steps in keeping your guitar both playing and sounding great. How often you need to change strings depends on how much they're played and on the guitar's environment. We suggest changing them at least once or twice a month. Using the same gauge of strings as what's already on your guitar will mean less work during setup than when switching to a different gauge. To replace the strings on a guitar with a Wilkinson Tremolo and give it a complete tune-up, you'll need wire cutters, a Phillips head screwdriver to adjust the tremolo springs, a smaller one for adjusting intonation and removing the truss rod and spring compartment covers, a flathead screwdriver for the pickups, the polishing cloth and truss rod wrench from your user kit, Allen wrenches in the sizes of 3, 2, and 1.5 millimeters, and a tuner. As a guide for truss rod adjustment, a business card can also prove helpful. To protect your guitar's finish from damage, you can place your polishing cloth underneath the tremolo. To minimize stress changes on the instrument, and to help keep your tremolo set properly, replace each string one at a time. After loosening a string and unlocking its trim lock, you can remove it from the machine head. Cut the string near the bridge, making sure to leave enough room to push the string through the bottom of the bridge. Thread the new string up through the bridge, giving it a little tug to make sure it's in right before continuing through the machine head. Pull the string tight and tighten the trim lock. Then, tune to the desired pitch and cut away the excess string. Repeat this process on the remaining strings, one after the other. Pressing down on the strings just in front of and behind the nut, as well as just in front of the saddles, helps to break in your strings, improving your initial tuning stability. After removing the cloth from underneath the tremolo, you can check if it's floating properly. A properly set tremolo will float parallel to the body. If you need to adjust this, make sure the whammy bar isn't attached to the bridge and remove the spring compartment cover on the back of your guitar. If your bridge is pointing down towards the body, use a Phillips head screwdriver that fits the screws and loosen them to the left in small increments. If your bridge points up towards the headstock, then tighten the screws to the right. After each adjustment, you'll have to retune before seeing if the tremolo floats properly. To make sure your next truss rod is adjusted properly, press down simultaneously on the first and last frets of your guitar. Regardless of if you prefer low or high action, a properly set neck has a gap at the 9th fret of between 0.1 and 0.3 millimeters, which is about the thickness of a business card. To adjust this, remove the truss rod cover with a Phillips head screwdriver and fit the truss rod wrench into place. Turning the truss rod to the left will loosen it, letting the neck bend forward, increasing the gap found at the 9th fret. Tightening it to the right will decrease this gap. Always make gradual adjustments and check your tuning after each adjustment. After you're done, put the truss rod cover back into place. Remember that it will take time for your neck to adjust completely. Check the neck again after about an hour, and again the following day to see if you need to make any further adjustments. With a properly set neck, you can now adjust the string action. While this varies according to personal taste, we set our guitars using an optimal string height of 1.7 millimeters for the top string and 1.5 millimeters for the bottom. A simple way to check this is to place a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench between the 12th fret and the string, leaving a small gap with the top string, but none for the bottom. To lower the action at the bridge, use a 3 millimeter Allen wrench to turn the screw to the right on the corresponding side of the bridge. In order to raise the action, turn the screw to the left. After retuning, you can check if this action is right for you. By using a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench, you can fine-tune the action for each string individually by adjusting its saddle's height. For optimal pickup height, we suggest taking a 2 millimeter Allen wrench, setting it on top of the pickup, and while the string is pressed down at the last fret, use a flathead screwdriver to make the necessary adjustments. Do this for both sides and on each pickup. While pickup height also varies according to personal preference, it's important to note that as the pickup gets closer to the strings, the output will increase, but sustain will decrease. In order for your guitar to be in tune all the way up the fretboard, each string has to be properly intonated. After checking to be sure that the strings are in tune, check the tuning for each string at the 12th fret. If the note is flat, the saddle needs to be moved closer to the nut. If the note is sharp, then it needs to be closer to the bridge. Make the adjustments in small increments using a screwdriver. Retune the string and check it again at the 12th fret. After repeating this process for each string, you will have a fully set up guitar